And we're live. Hello and welcome to the unsolicited astrology forecast that you didn't know that you actually need. So I'm here, Starlene Breiter with Mark Metheny. We're going to be talking about the upcoming month of May 2025. We have just skidded through 2025 so far, and it's now May, which is unbelievable to me. I can't believe it's May. But we're going to talk about big things going on and what's going on, what we can expect energetically from ourselves and other people. So if you like our stuff, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We do these monthly videos. I also do other videos on the channel. You can find me on my website, and Mark now has his website up. It's still being worked on because I'm the web developer, but you can check it out at rabbitholeastrology.net, and mine is starlenebreiter.com, and they'll be in the description box too, so you can see them. So what's up, Mark? How are you doing this month?
Oh, I can't believe, I don't even know. April was just a rumor. I don't even know what happened to April. It was here, then it was gone.
It was a bad joke.
Like it seemed like, yeah. No, I'm telling you, the Neptune shift into Aries has, I think as astrologers, we see these like big planetary changes coming and stuff, but like these last time Neptune was in Aries was 100 and whatever years ago. Like,
no, 200, I think more than 200, 250 years ago or something. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
1865 or whatever, I think was.
And so that was over
whatever 160 years. Is that what that is? Yeah, like 160-ish years. So even though we see this, the stuff coming, it's like we've never lived through, like a lot of the transits the last, we'll say since since January of 2020. I mean, nobody alive that's alive now has lived through those transits before.
No.
So
there are some people on Social Security, I think, that are that old. Did I say that? Oh my God, I'm so bad. Go on. A little tongue in cheek there. But yeah, no, nobody has lived through any of these transits before. So, I mean, Neptune moving into Aries. So let's just break it down for a moment. Neptune was in Pisces for the last 14 years. 14 years, right? I think.
Yeah.
And Neptune in Pisces, I mean, according to traditional astrology, it was happy in Pisces because it rolls over Pisces. Things were a lot different, though. Now, Neptune rules our dreams, our ideals, our inner world. Would you say it's the inner world?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Neptune Pisces rules the 12th house. That's your subconscious, your intuition, the hidden parts of life. That's the Pisces realm.
So when we shift from Pisces into, I almost said Aquarius, into Aries, what are we expecting?
So, I mean, God, the last month has just been, so any planet moving from Pisces to Aries is, to me, that's one of the biggest shifts of energy you can have. I'd say Aquarius into Pisces and Pisces into Aries are probably two of the biggest shifts you can have. And so having, the planet that rules Pisces being in its, pink fluffy cloud for 14 years. I mean, I would consider this last month has just been like an unruly, rambunctious child, like running through the attic like 24/7. It's like sleep patterns there is no sleep pattern at this point.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just crazy, and like the energy level. So we've been talking about lately, like there's just a feeling of things being off, like, and things being super weird, and it's all the time. Like it never goes away now. And I think that's the, Neptune, which has been traveling, 2 miles an hour for 14 years, is now trying to go 100 miles an hour. And it's just like, it's like a rambunctious child running through a hoarder house or something. It's just like it's running through and just like disturbing and disrupting everything. And it's just like kicking up all this dust and cosmic fluff that's just been like sitting for 14 years. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's just a constant feeling of just like disruption, because like Neptune's not really a good place for Aries. I mean, Aries is like I said that backwards. Aries is not a good place for Neptune.
That's okay.
Um, it's one or the other. Um, so yeah, it's just like psychological disturbances, like 24/7. Like it's like everything is going so fast, and just like even just like a work day, like it's every day is just here and then it's gone in like what feels like 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does feel like that to me. I feel like but I mean, I deal with like what I call, and other people have called it, but I started calling it this before I realized it was a thing, because I've always dealt with this a bit of time blindness when I get like, meaning when I get into something, I just lose all track of everything. But it's like I used to kind of know, oh, it's still evening or something instead of night. But now it's like I look at the clock and it's like 11 a.m. like it is now, 11 something a.m. And it's next time I look, it's 3. I don't even like realize how does that happen? Like it just moves so quickly. It's really wild. So yeah, I definitely can understand that idea of time moving very quickly. And I feel like it has speeded up, especially once the planets from the inner planets went direct. I feel like that helped a lot move things forward, but it went from, instead of going like, a slow accelerating place, it went from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. It's like everything is
Yeah,
just, yeah. And you mentioned that in another video that we did before this time, that when, as the planets are moving back and forth through the signs, that will feel like a little disjointed because of that. And that's definitely how I've been feeling. Yeah. Is that the big,
yeah, and this is, and that's like this is just like we've got 3 different warm up phases, like the middle part of this year with Neptune entering Aries, and then Saturn is going to enter Aries May 25th. So that's only 3 weeks away, and then Uranus is going to enter Gemini, and that boy, July is just boy,
wow.
July's off. July's so insane. So like July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini, and all 3 of those, uh, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, all be in those masculine signs for a few months each, but then they're all going to retrograde back into, Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, and Uranus back into Taurus. So we've not even, like, this is just the beginning shift of the consciousness. It's going to, like, once, because like Saturn rules time. So Saturn, um, Saturn in Pisces has, that kind of goes in with what you're saying about time, like not existing, just like
Time
very
blindness.
easily
Yeah.
losing track. Yeah. So I think that's going to, I think what's going to happen there is like when Saturn enters Aries, like it's just going to even further accelerate the level that things are moving at. And then oh my God, when Uranus enters Gemini in July, I don't like, we're going to be, it is literally going to be a different world at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
That's only 2 months away. I mean, it's going to be, so really like right now is like the time to get rid of clutter and streamline things and just get whatever you can working as quickly and as efficiently as possible, because like a day is going to seem like a second. It already feels that way, and we're only a third of the way through the planetary changes that we're going to have, over in the next 2 months. It's going to be crazy. And that was back to my original point of, even though as astrologers we see this stuff coming, like we've never lived, we've lived through full moons before and eclipses and stuff like that, but like having this planetary lineup we're going to have, like, it is literally going to be the opposite of 2020, where 2020 everything just shut down and was at a complete standstill and a complete stoppage.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to be everything happening all at once, a little bit of everything all of the time, in the words of Bo Burnham. But that's I'm not really looking forward to it that much, to be honest with you.
Well, maybe, I mean, on some level, we have no choice but to go through it, right? On some level, it feels like we were so kind of stagnant a little bit because of after the pandemic and looking at it like the big picture, we were like we haven't gotten back to where we were normal. I don't know that we should go back to exactly that either, but so maybe on some level it'll help expedite some of the BS that's been going on, because honestly, I've seen so much of it already, but I know that more is coming too. So
Right.
It's interesting though. I mean, it's just kind of like chaos nonstop. One fire's out, the next one comes, or the next one comes before the first one's out,
it's just a continual line of destruction is all. It's like every day, all day long. It's like you just jump from one thing to the next until like you finally pass out for a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, that's definitely it. It's just, you're like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? That's
Yeah, and speaking of like uncomfortable transits, like like the first thing for this month is that Venus just left Pisces, where it's pretty comfortable in, and now Venus is in Aries, and it's tomorrow it's conjunct Neptune. So we got like Venus and Neptune are not really favorable spots for Venus, and Neptune and Aries are not really favorable spots there for, because it's just Aries is kind of the opposite energy of Venus and Neptune. Venus being ruled by Taurus and Libra, so it's like Libra is the opposite of Aries, and Taurus moves at 1/1,000,000th the speed of Aries. So it's like, and it's yeah. I'd say since Venus entered Aries a couple days ago, and Venus is conjunct Neptune, so it's just like everything is like unsettling right now. It's like all the things packed away in your subconscious is just like it's like unraveling and coming out at this point. It's like I knew this period would be weird, but I didn't think it would be like
this weird.
Constant.
Mm-hmm.
there's no downtime from the weird. Like it's just continual. Like we've landed on an alien world at this point.
Yeah, I know. I mean, do you think though Venus and Neptune that could be romantic because it's in Aries, it doesn't seem like it would have a romantic vibe to it? Because I mean, I always think of Venus and Neptune as like sweet or romantic, but yes, they're on fire in Aries, so it's not like
right. You would think a Venus Neptune conjunction would feel good.
Yeah, well, in Pisces it did, right? So that happened a few times, but they're in Aries, so I don't know. Yeah,
right. So
either
to me, that Aries energy just. I know we've got a lot of Aries energy in the chat room, so I'm gonna.
That's funny. So here, I'll put it this way: I think it's either you're floating on divine love, or you're ignoring 47 red flags. One of the two.
Yeah.
Because don't do that either. You don't want to ignore red flags if they're really going on. Like, just that's okay. Next. Because I feel like that could happen. In the sense of Aries. Aries is very me oriented. For good or bad, it's just very me oriented. It's the charger, the one that initiates, right? The beginning initiator. So don't come after me, Aries people in the chat. but seriously, I think that's part of it, and I feel like there's potential for something sweet, or just being like I'm thinking about myself and not looking at the bigger picture. So make sure you just, I guess, take that with you during this time. So
my word of advice for our Aries friends is slow down a little bit and enjoy the process a little bit more, and enjoy the stop. Oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Stop to smell the roses once in a while.
Yeah.
You don't have to just blow through everything in 2 seconds.
Yes, smell the roses, enjoy it. Yeah, let it unfold naturally. That's a Taurus thing, by the way, like letting something unfold naturally. Aries wants to go to the flower bud and pick it apart, but that doesn't work. So like let it open. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. And hi Jimmy in the chat too. Thanks for coming, and Christina and Scott and whoever else is there. I know there's more people, but feel free to say hi and let us know where you're at, where you came from. So next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be, where is it? It is May 4th, Pluto station retrograde. That's a big one, especially since you're an evolutionary astrologer.
Yeah. So to me, the outside of the big configurations like grand squares and like the fixed T square we're coming out of, like to me the outer planets stationing are that's like, to me, that's the biggest thing in astrology. That's like, if you want to look at the big energies, when does Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, when do they station? And those are, there's always like, I'm a news junkie, but like I've given up trying to even like every day is just a parade of clowns. Like it's the never-ending Volkswagen, and it's just the number of clowns coming out of the Volkswagen never ends. Like there's got to be a tunnel. There's got the Earth has to be hollow, and the Earth is not filled with cheese or mice or inner levels of crustacea or anything. The inner Earth is filled with clowns, and they just keep coming out. It's just a never-ending stream of clowns leaving the hollow Earth.
That's awesome. I definitely think that's a clip we're going to keep forever. Hello, Sarah. You missed it. We're here.
The Earth is filled with rich, chewy, clowny goodness.
Oh my gosh. You just gave me that vision of the clown in the drain. Gosh. And no, I seriously, you know what I keep seeing is I keep seeing that news things, whether they're small or big, that I sort of trusted. I never trust anybody completely, their opinions.
Yeah.
When I find something and it's interesting, I'll go look for like the actual footage of whatever that thing was, right? So I'm talking politically or otherwise, right? So I'll find that because I opinions are whatever, right? That's what news is. It's an opinion. So I will, even news like outlets that I have trusted in a way before have been doing really shady shit. So for instance, I won't name the news place, but it was posted on their social media and it was like completely saying one thing. And I was like, oh my God, really? So I went to that actual article and I read it, and what they had posted was completely opposite of what they were talking about in the article. So it's kind of like they're gaslighting you, right? They're trying to, and they're gaslighting themselves because it was the same news outlet. It wasn't like, somebody else talked about them and made them look bad. But it's just crazy. It's like either they're using your attention for clickbait, oh, this is a catchy title, but it really isn't mean anything, or they're just being disingenuous or something. But what's really going on is the opposite. And that seems to me very, I don't know, very delusional, right? So like making sure that you keep your thinking caps on is a good idea too, because honestly, you never know. It feels like we don't know what we're seeing and we're not seeing these days, if that makes sense.
I would speculate that the vast you're right on the clickbait.
Yeah.
It is. It's like we're on Planet Clown clickbait.
Planet Clown.
It's just everything is like like no news story. Like the pictures never even match up.
No.
Regardless of what news site you're on, like the pictures never match up with like the article. Like
No.
it's all just click.
Right. It's like I would rather have authenticity than some kind of clickbait shit that it makes me, now I don't trust you. That's the way I look at it. Then it's like, okay, so you do that, and I'm just going to be less inclined to looking at you. So anybody that knows the news should know that, because people do catch on. If you're wise enough, you catch on. If you don't, just look at whatever the clickbait is and take that for the gospel. So
because I've figured out too that like, even though like I have a lot of people that I watch and follow and stuff like you do, but I've realized that the unseen hand is kind of being revealed at this point. Now that Neptune's come out of Pisces and made that first jump into Aries, I think part of it is the unseen hand is being revealed. So no matter who you like or who you watch, everybody has like one entity or group that they can't talk about, that they can't hack on. So I'm not gonna give specific examples on here, but I think everyone here probably pretty much got that figured out, that like you can figure out whom is owned by whom.
Yeah, you definitely
because they'll point the finger one, but there's always one group that particular person won't talk about.
Yep. I agree. And I mean, I also think about Pluto station retrograde is kind of like the shadow of the person from a psychological standpoint coming to the surface. So, we can see that in the bigger picture and even ourselves. And for me, and maybe you can tell me if you agree with this, when any planet is station retrograde or station direct, that's the most intense part of the station. And I feel that way mostly about the outer planets, because it seems like they're months long in that. Of course you feel it, but the intensity is around those stations, right?
Yeah, and so for when I think I started saying that earlier, and my brain left.
When on vacation.
Not that it was ever But for on the planetary stations for a week on either end, like that's when you really feel the intensity of that. And like with the outer planets, which move so slow anyways, like they'll like Pluto is stationing this Sunday at um, three degrees 49 minutes of Aquarius. But if you look, like Pluto hit 3 Aquarius on March 5th. And so Pluto's going to be at 3 degrees and something of Aquarius from March 5th until the second week of July, before, Pluto hits below 3 degrees of Aquarius. So that's, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 months of Pluto being at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So that's really, like, that's where I like will look at like the Sabian symbols and stuff. Because like when an outer planet stations at, retrograde and then sits at that degree and then goes direct later on and hits that degree again, and sometimes it'll hit a degree 3 times, like that's really the universe like pointing out like that degree of that sign. Like, Pluto at 3 Aquarius had, I mean, it hits pretty hard in my chart, but I know a lot of people, like, if it's hitting in your chart, like that's an outer planet sitting at 1 degree of a sign for 4 or 5 months. I mean, that's a major turning point there. That's a major energy.
Mm-hmm. That's what Uranus was doing to me. It's finally moved off my ascendant, but Uranus kept stationed direct right at my ascendant. And it was like, oh my God, are you trying to kill me? And now Pluto, my sun and Venus, is right between it. And I have a really close friend who has Venus right opposite of Pluto at 3 degrees in Leo. And I'm like, oh, we're getting beat up. Just forget it. She's... It's really hard. Yeah, it's a difficult time, but it brings like I said, it does bring the shadow stuff to the surface. And listen, we all have shadow things. We have to process them. If we don't, we end up living in our darkness somehow, or letting it leak out of us somehow. So the good part of that is allowing that to surface so you can deal with it in healthy ways. And so if you've noticed some of your shadow stuff coming up during this time, try to do that. Try to think about healthy ways I can help myself, go work through this. Healing comes up, I've been getting back into my healing work too, doing more Reiki and things like that, which I do have a class coming up. My Reiki class is coming up in later May. If anybody's interested in learning Reiki, I do that. I teach that, not to like just do a promotion in the middle of this, but yeah, that's something I do. But healing does come off. And I think about Pluto, and Pluto's very a healing like thing. It comes off in layers, and, it's like an onion, and one layer will come off and the onion gets smaller. And then it just keeps needing to do that. We keep going through the phases of healing to get to the end where the onion's no longer there. I knocked my water bottle off. But I think that's important. And, if you do have any planets around 3 degrees of any sign, that Pluto is going to be affecting you. So if you have like a 3 degree Leo something, that's going to be opposition of the 3 degree Pluto station. So, and this is like what Mark said. What is July? You said it's going to be finally off of Pluto, off of 3 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be retrograde then, so it's going to hit 3 Aquarius again.
Yeah, it'll hit again
after it goes direct. It's going to be like January, February of next year. Pluto's going to be back again at 3 Aquarius.
Wow. And it'll be conjunct Neptune at that time, or close to it, right?
It'll be
Not
sextile
conjunct,
Neptune.
sextile. Yeah, and conjunct. That's funny. Wow. So, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, I'm
So
sorry.
that's no good.
I have two questions for you, but I'll let you finish first.
Okay. Yeah. So just on that point, that's kind of where we're heading. Is we're going to be we're going to have a Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries, and we're going to have a Uranus Pluto trine, Uranus and Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius, and then those are going to be sextile to the two Aries planets, to Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So we're, as fast as things are going now, we're like, is we are nowhere near the level that this is going to go. It's just like a day is going to feel like a second. Like next year at this time, like a day is just going to feel like a second. It's just going to blow right through.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna blow through. And Aries will make sure things speed up. That's for sure. So, two questions. One, do you know what the Sabian symbol is for? It's for Aquarius, right? Because it's 3 something that would make it for Aquarius. If you don't, I pulled some up, and I'm not sure if they're the original ones or not.
I have multiple books here on those. Let's see.
And the other thing that I was going to mention too is I created a Telegram group for us. So if you're interested in joining the Telegram group, Mark is not there yet, I don't think, but he will be there. We're going to talk about things like after we do shows. If you're interested in continuing the conversation or talking about, other things that we talk about, that's what the Telegram group is for. It's called Mystical Thread. I will put a link in the description. I don't think there is one, but you can go to my Facebook page, and I did post about it this morning, so you can check it out and join. It's a public group, so it'll be something fun. I like Telegram because it's not like it's kind of like social media, but it's not like social media where you're bombarded with all kinds of ads. And I think it's kind of focused in that way. And I thought that would be a nice way for us to communicate. You can download an app on your phone. It's completely free, or one on your computer. I'm old school, so I do it on the computer mostly, but it's kind of like text messaging and email type thing, but it's fun. It's an interesting group. I hope we grow it into a cool community. So yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say, but if you found the 4 Aquarius Sabian symbol.
So it says a Hindu yogi demonstrates his healing powers. It says the disciplined use. So I mean, just look how like pertinent this is to like where we are in the world right now. The disciplined use of spiritual energies in restoring the natural harmony disturbed by man's inharmonic attempts to transcend nature through mind. So like look at that, like with Aquarius, really, probably being the ruler of artificial intelligence. I think when Pluto first entered Aquarius is probably when the Chat GPT and stuff was really starting to hit big and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a rebalancing of those energies to make sure that there's still like natural stuff in the world.
Not all like artificial something. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I agree that there's pluses and minuses to the AI situation. I'm not against it, but I also do know that there's potential for a lot of negative stuff with it. So we have to be careful as humans. And I don't know. I try to be nice to it if I ever talk to it, though, because you never know when that is going to come in to be a Terminator. and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, she was rude. I actually am kidding, but I'm not kidding at the same time because you never know. You just never know. That collectiveness.
Yeah,
And
just have
I mean,
a-
how long have we talked about the collective consciousness for? I mean, my whole life probably. There's like I've heard that
yeah, yeah,
term. I mean, and it's so weird that AI. I kind of can go down a rabbit hole with this one, but AI is kind of turning into that, right? Which is
yeah,
cool and terrifying.
yeah.
So I know. So let's go on to our next one. Let's look at. We move on. We talked about Pluto station retrograde May 10th. We have Mercury moving into the sign of Taurus. What is Mercury doing in Taurus? How does that feel?
So, so I would think that while Mercury itself is probably more comfortable in Aries, I think we kind of have a lot of Aries energy right now because Chiron's in Aries,
Mm-hmm.
um, Mercury's in Aries, Venus is in Aries, um, Neptune is in Aries, um, and then Mars is in Leo, which is one of the other fire signs. So it's giving a boost to all those, Chiron, Neptune, Mercury, and Venus in Aries. So Mars is giving a little boost to those Aries planets. And just we've tried to cut this down to talking about like bigger picture things, but just something interesting in the short term that I noticed is like right now with like the moon's in Cancer today, but it forms this huge succession of squares to the Aries planets because there's four planets in Aries. Um, so like the moon, like over a 24-hour period from this morning at 3:57 a.m. well until 9:05 p.m. tomorrow night. So that's like about 36 hours, whatever. Um, the moon's going to make four squares, and it's going to do that. Uh, well, I guess by then Venus and Mercury have moved that, but still, that's a lot of squares for the moon to make in one sign. So that's kind of that. To me, uh, the Cancer Aries square of like a rebirthing thing. That's why like zero Aries is the zodiac. It the moon in Cancer represents the mother, and then Aries is new birth. So that's kind of it's the initial separating out of the womb energy, the Aries Cancer square. It's the initial independence from the female parental unit.
Hmm. Interesting. That's interesting. The independent from the interesting. I never thought of it that way. But this, you're right. The squares, when they happen like that, they have potential for movement. And even if they're shorter, but if they happen like in groups like that, they definitely have the
Yeah,
potential for more. Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely.
And so Mercury in
Oh,
Taurus is
so
it's going to be more. That's okay. It's going to be more like,
oh,
you
so much slower paced, and with Mercury so this Neptune in Aries is about all that my brain can handle at this point. So like with the Mercury and Venus in Aries now too, it's like everything is going entirely too fast. So that Mercury entering Taurus hopefully will put some brakes onto that slow things down to a manageable pace. And also
mhm.
too, that's only uh, what is that? 6 days after the Pluto station. So Mercury is going to be squaring Pluto when it uh, when it enters Taurus,
Oh yeah, that's right.
because
It's right there. Yeah.
Taurus and Aquarius are square.
Right. Right. So that Mercury, I mean, that could be, explosive words even. And I mean, right after the Mercury enter Taurus, I'd say a couple days it doesn't necessarily mean that it is, but it's potential for words that come out that were hidden or something during that square. I always think squares like that have the ability to get us to let it out. But Mercury in Taurus, before we move off that, I think it's more like when you do speak, it'll be more important or meaningful as opposed to like just speaking for the sake of speaking, which is Mercury and Aries more, right? That's kind of like how I feel about it. But yeah, we were talking, we were jumping ahead. Maybe we were jumping ahead. Oh no, the full moon in Scorpio. Did I miss one? Maybe. Yeah, I did miss one. Hold on. We actually have one before the full moon that I want to share. 1 second. It's actually a big one. So May 12th, Mercury square Pluto in what we were just talking about. Yep. So, I mean, I feel like this one's a big one for us to kind of pay attention to. What are you feeling about this?
Yeah. So, so Pluto's not even moving at that point. That's 8 days after the state, and Pluto barely moves anyways. So just like 8 days after a station, and Pluto's really just sitting there. And so to me, in light of where things are right now, I can see Mercury square Pluto being like dark secrets being revealed, like because they're just and overturning isn't the right word. There's a like continually things being revealed, no matter like how much groups or people or whatever try to keep things hidden. It's like everything's just like pouring out right now, like everything that's been like hidden for the last, between 5,000 years. it's just it's just like everything's just kind of coming out.
And here's the thing, I've seen so much stuff, like for instance, the things that they found underneath the pyramids, some of the buildings that were much bigger and buried. Even, I don't know if you saw that or not, but like in the last couple months, I've seen a lot of these things kind of come to the surface that were like hidden secrets from forever. And I don't know if they're real or not, because like in this world, I'm kind of like, I'm not sure and I'm not there, so I don't know. But it's weird because I've been seeing so many things being uncovered that we hadn't really paid attention to or known before. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, so this is how crazy things are right now. They released documents showing that the CIA killed JFK, and we just found that, I'd say definitely without a doubt, the pyramids were not built by Egyptians or any humans. There's no way, there is zero chance that anybody on Earth at that time had that kind of technology. I mean, those structures underneath the pyramids are like 100 times bigger than the pyramids, which I don't think humans could have built either.
Oh,
So to me, that's like two of the biggest news stories in the history of Earth, and like no one's even talking about them. The Egyptian thing was like that's like the biggest news story like in the last 5,000 years, and like mainstream media like didn't even cover that hardly.
yeah, I saw it on, well, I don't really watch mainstream media, but I saw it on, people talking about it online. But I always take things with a grain of salt, especially if they seem really like, what in the F? Because, because seriously, you don't know, and you don't know what's real and not real anymore because of AI, thanks to AI. But, at the same time, I think there was a lot of stuff that I saw about the pyramids, and that's really interesting. Yeah, really interesting. I mean, I think you have to be kind of like narrow-minded to think that there's not something else out there other than humans. You know what I mean? Like there has to be. Our universe is so vast. How can there not be? Maybe I shouldn't call people narrow-minded, but like really think about, if you think about it enough, it's like you almost have to believe that, maybe not in our solar system because that's possible, but maybe, who knows, one of those moons, around a planet, it's possible.
I think that was a leaking out of our reality is nowhere close to what we think it is. This is just a dog and pony show with a clown mare. That's there's
Yeah, like someone said in the chat, the aliens that live in the ocean. I know I had a friend tell me about that, and I was like, "You're a little nuts." And he's like, "No, I'm not. There's mermaids." And I'm like, "Okay." We just kind of gave him a side eye, but whatever. Maybe he's not wrong. Yeah. You agree?
I think. I think I'm due to rewatch the movie Prometheus. I think after seeing that, I think that had a lot of interesting possibilities in it.
Interesting. So the next thing we'll talk about, if I can pop it up, there it is. This is going to be so much fun. It is the full moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees Scorpio. I say that's so much fun because that's on my descendant.
Oh yeah, that's
12. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's always one of the more intense full moons. But yeah, that's like the sun will be exactly trine my Uranus and loosely trine to my Pluto, and then the moon there at 22 Scorpio is going to be right on my Neptune. So I'm sure that's going to be an eye-opening carnival ride for me. I'm sure that eclipse usually hits really hard in my chart, regardless of the degree.
Your
Because I have so much.
Is 22 degrees of Scorpio?
It's 24.
Oh, it's conjunct my descendant then. That's interesting. I guess I never remembered that. As much as I've looked at your chart. That's funny. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, it's funny. I've looked at my chart 5 million times, and there's still stuff that I see that I never thought of that before. Like no matter how long you study, there's always additional stuff that you run across. It's like
So
to me, that the full moon in fixed signs, especially anytime like Scorpio's involved, I mean that's usually like the one of the highest intensity levels you're gonna get, regardless of. And you know what? The sun at that point. What is that?
Sun's in Taurus, well, in a late degree of Taurus. Oh well, of course it is. What am I saying? It's in full moon.
So the sun's going to be. It's going to be a little bit loose, but the sun's going to be conjunct Uranus also.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. In Taurus, because it's a little bit. It'll get there in a few days. That's the thing, and I mean, poor Taurus people, and just like I'll be saying that poor Gemini people, and for over the next 7 years, they've gotten their asses kicked with Uranus being in Taurus all this time. And maybe Gemini won't be as difficult because Uranus and Taurus doesn't like to move fast, doesn't like shocking surprises, is more methodical. And I mean, I know I have a Taurus rising, but I feel like I got the crap beat out of me with Taurus sitting on my ascendant for like a year. It feels like 82 years, but a year or so, it's just like one thing after the other. It's just nonstop. I'm actually happy when it leaves. in June or July, whenever that is.
Yeah, I was trying to think too. Like, I think I think two of the signs that have had it the worst the last year or two, year or few, is the Geminis and Sag, because that crazy lineup of Pisces planets we've had forever,
Yeah, it's been
which is
hard.
just now finally dissipating a little bit. But even now, Saturn's still in the late degrees of Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then with Jupiter and Gemini, it's like me and Virgo and Sag have just been like getting beat up. At least the Geminis have had Jupiter in their sign for the last year to kind of bail them out a little bit. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think like the Virgos and Sages, I can just like I can see they're just like done with everything right now. They're just kind of like kind of beaten down a little bit.
Yeah.
So they'll
Yeah.
probably enjoy these planets getting out of Pisces and stuff.
Right.
And
It'll be
Jupiter.
less intense for the Geminis because then those planets are not squaring the Gemini energy. Also, the Jupiter is good sometimes, but it also can be hugely difficult. It can create big problems too, right? Don't you agree?
Yeah, I Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter is the most beneficial planet, but it can also be super destructive. Like
Yeah.
depending, like I've noticed the last 2 months on the maybe it's the last 3 months when the moon's been in Gemini and made the conjunction to Jupiter. It's just been like
Emotional.
it's been like full chaos to the maximum. It's just been full throttle chaos. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's not always just like too, like I've noticed a lot of the last 2 years with the tornadoes and stuff, they've come on days when the moon has been in Gemini trying to Pluto and Aquarius. Like
Yeah.
I've noticed that I, it's like unlimited access to like high speed destruction. It's kind of how that's been played out.
Yeah, no, seriously. And that's the thing is Jupiter is the energy of Jupiter is like making things big. So if it's dealing with something in a destructive kind of way, forget about it. It makes things big, difficult, really difficult instead of just like little. But yeah, I agree. Jupiter can definitely be benefic too, meaning it's beneficial, but it can definitely be difficult as well. So Jamie asked, she's a Gemini, double Gemini. When will it move away from Gemini? Do you know the date?
So, so Jupiter enters Cancer. We're really close to that,
That's what I thought.
actually. Um, June 9th is when Jupiter enters Cancer.
Good. So we're
So
close.
Jupiter will be out. Yeah. However, a month after that, Uranus enters Gemini. But just for a few months, that's the warm up phase, and then Uranus will retrograde back into Taurus in the fall, and then it's yeah. Once we get into next year, I started saying this earlier, but like this, we're getting little movie previews for Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and the signs they're going to be in long term. Once we get into next spring, we're getting little previews this year. So this should show you the middle part of this year should show you what areas you need to tighten up and streamline and simplify um, before we get into like next February, March, when the outer planets are all moving in for long term into the next sign that they're going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that is a problem this June, July, August, you've got like 3 or 4 months at like this fall to streamline or fix those problems, because whatever problems you have in the middle part of this year, they're probably going to be really big problems starting next spring. So that you have a few months to figure out
Yeah.
fixes for those.
Yeah. Wow. That's deep. Yeah. And Sarah also said, someone told me that they went to the 13th dimension the other day. I don't know anything about dimensions like that, but I don't know, but I don't believe that it's untrue. I think anything is possible at this point. I just don't know what that would mean. So I didn't look at the midpoints on the full moon, but that's okay. Maybe I'll do another video with Anna Mir. I've been doing videos with her. Maybe I'll talk about the midpoints there. But the full moon is going to be intense. Anytime the moon is in Scorpio, I mean, even the new moon in Scorpio, I don't really love either. I think it's difficult. And has potential for catharsis, and that's not always easy. So yeah, that's
Right.
my take on
So yeah, no, we've talked about that before too, where I always expect that the Scorpio, or I used to always expect the Scorpio transits to be great because they hit so good in my chart, but like Scorpio transits are difficult even if they hit good in your chart.
Yeah,
exactly. And this is my argument for Scorpio being ruled by Pluto, is that Pluto is your soul, and your soul wants transformation. So even if it's hitting positively or negatively in your chart, the Scorpio transits have an intensity level to them, and they want transformation. So the Scorpio transit is not always going to be a good transit, even if it hits good in your chart. It's
yeah,
going to be wreckage there.
Yeah. So when we move on a little bit in the month, we go to May 17th. That's when the sun conjuncts Uranus, and this is at 27 Taurus. So this is right at the very end of Uranus in Taurus. A little bit more time, and it will be moving into Gemini. What are you feeling about the sun and Uranus? It's what is Algol at 25 degrees Taurus, I think.
It's something like, yeah, I think that's correct.
I just passed it, but Algol is they say traditionally, one of the worst stars in the entire sky. Funny enough, not funny, haha, but interestingly enough, there was a Mars-Uranus transit last year, and Mars-Uranus Algol transit last year, right when Trump had the shot through his ear. That wasn't funny. I'm not laughing at anybody getting shot, but that was crazy. It was nuts that happened. And the lore behind Algol is beheading. So, I mean, if he would have just moved a little, maybe he would have lost his someone was watching out for him. I don't want anyone to die.
No, there's people that have been beheaded with significant transits to that. I think like Jane Mansfield, the actress, I think is one.
Oh, really?
That died. She had something big happen. She got beheaded in a car accident.
And that was Trump's Midhaven, right? I think Trump's Midhaven, was it? I think so. I think it was.
Yes, because his MC is Taurus and his ascendant is Leo.
Yep. So it was like the MC is where in the chart, the top of the chart, where you're kind of like how you present yourself to the world. Sometimes it's your work or the hat you wear in the world, metaphorically speaking. So it was so interesting that happened. I remember telling somebody, and they were like, "Oh my God, you told me this whole astrology thing to be careful," because they were working, and called me that day and was like, how did you know? And I'm like, I know astrology. Like, you know, it was kind of, that was a funny conversation, but you know, I mean, astrology works if you really pay attention and understand it, it does work. So yeah, I mean, Sun conjunct Uranus, it isn't a fast, I mean, it is a fast moving transit. It's only a couple days at most, but what do you feel like what could it bring the world? Chaos?
So, yeah, no, that is you can like I would not plan if you have a surgery or a doctor's office visit or something, like move it the hell away from there. Move it away from May 17th. That's an to me, Sun conjunct Uranus that's earthquake weather.
Interesting.
That we frequently get very large earthquakes when there's a Sun Uranus conjunction. I can also be like explosions and things like that. You know, that is the sun highlighting spontaneous, unexpected, crazy events.
Yeah.
That's that's where the sun is that day.
Yeah.
So it'll be rocking and rolling that day, I would think.
Yeah, most definitely.
And obviously, you know, the few days on either end too, but that's definitely a high energy point.
Yeah, with so much unrest in the world too, you just don't know. Because I mean, we're all in the entire world is in this. It's not like you're exclusive if you're somewhere else.
Oh, I know people. I personally know several people and stuff that are like moving and I'm like, you're not going to run. There is nowhere on Earth where you're going to like go hide.
Right. There's not. It doesn't work that way, you know.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it doesn't.
you can move to somewhere safer, but you're not going to run and hide. I mean,
Yeah, no, because then it'll just happen more on a smaller level, you know, and then you're stuck wherever you're stuck hiding.
Right.
You know? It's like, no. So, okay, so that's the 17th. Moving on a little bit, we go to the 24th. Saturn moves into Aries for the first time. Oh, wow. When was the last time Saturn was in Aries? Do you remember, or do you know?
That was so it should have been 28 years ago.
So, oh yeah, of course.
It was mid 90s.
Oh yeah, no, that my son has Saturn at like 3 degrees of Aries, so he's going to go through it this summer, the return. So yeah, it was and he was born in 96. So yeah, it would have been then.
Yeah, so even actually late 90s even.
Yeah, he was born in 96. And he has 3 degrees Aries. No, actually 3 degrees Aries rising. What am I saying? Aries Saturn and rising. What am I saying? Okay, forget that. But he has the Saturn conjunct is rising.
So even the like 97, 98, early 99 was the last Saturn in Aries transit.
Oh, that was the end of it. Right?
Yeah. It was like early 97 through let's just so April of 96 was April of 96.
Yeah, because my son was born in October of 96. So he definitely has 3 degrees Saturn ascendant and Saturn on his rising. So it says
yes.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna look.
Yeah, Saturn was
April 7th, right? April 7th, 1996 is when it went into. I'm using the computer. I'm cheating. And then when it went, when it went.
So then it was
98, right?
Yeah, the last retrograde. So probably spring, like February or so of '99 was when Saturn left Aries for Taurus, like officially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's these next 2.5 years are like they're just going to go lightning fast. It's going to be the opposite of like 2020 to 2022, how that went. These are just going to go lightning fast. And then once Saturn enters Taurus, um, in like 3 years from now, that's when we're really going to have a good Saturn placement to where we can actually like
I have
have solid footing to build things on.
April 12th, 2028 is when Saturn first goes into Taurus. That's what I have. Yeah.
That
So that's,
I that will be beneficial, I think.
yeah, I think so too. That will be when we can plant some of the seeds that we are dealing with. Whoops. That we are kind of dealing with cultivating, I don't know, tilling the earth while it's in Aries. Because you're right, it is going to move pretty fast during that time. That's one of the things that Aries does, is it makes things speed up. Okay. Then we have Mercury moving into Gemini. This is May 25th. Mercury moves into Gemini. Woohoo, Gemini, you're getting it. That's a good thing. Mercury rules over Gemini, so there's good feelings, good vibes in the idea of communication with Geminis, especially if you have planets in Gemini. What are you thinking about this?
Yeah. So Mercury's going to move very slow when it's in Taurus. As soon as it enters Gemini, the mental processes are going to be going 900 miles an hour. So to me, the backing and forthing of like how well all the planets, but like Mercury from like fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, like the fixed signs are where you plan and think things out thoroughly, build the solid foundations, and then the mutable signs, when Mercury's in the mutable signs, that's when you can take off and run with stuff.
Mm.
So to me, that's where Mercury operates at a very high level when it's in Gemini or Virgo, but
Mm-hmm.
that's really what the mental processes are going to be in high gear at that point.
But is this when you make your lists or no?
There's always time to make lists.
List of lists of lists. Oh, and we do definitely need your circade. What are they called? Cicadas. We need your cicada forecast. I think this is May, isn't it? When we're supposed to have your forecast here for cicadas.
Yeah, I think that last year, after all the dire biblical warnings, I think I saw 3 cicadas the whole year. So that was not a good call by the cicada masters.
Maybe they were waiting for Neptune to move into Aries before they just got out of their slumber and decided to go crazy. Maybe you'll see broods of them now. Broods? Are they called broods? I don't even know because we don't have them where I'm at.
But yeah, maybe there'll be a cicada clearance sale. So I have to look and see what a group of cicadas is called now.
I think they're called broods. I thought that's what you called them, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, a brood. Yes, that seems right.
We definitely need to know when the cicadas are coming. That's important. Massively important.
Oh, actually, that's incorrect. A group of cicadas is called a chorus. A chorus, like a vocal chorus. A
That's
group of cicadas is called a chorus. Oh, the term brood is also used.
Oh, see, I wasn't wrong.
It's also used to describe groups of periodical cicadas that emerge in the same year. They're also called a cloud, a plague, and a swarm.
Wow.
Now, plague,
Well,
I can understand.
I hope that your cicadas are fruitful and don't eat all your crops this year. And I hope that your chickens will eat them. They eat them, right?
Chickens absolutely will eat cicadas.
That's what I
They
thought.
also
Food galore.
chickens also eat snakes.
They do?
Chickens eat snakes and worms.
Wow.
Chickens can be brutal.
Do you have to have like special stuff to have chickens in your? I mean, obviously, if there's like a little chicken house or something, right? I don't know how that works.
Uh, like you don't have to. I mean, they're like we don't have to have any permits or anything like that out where we are. But like we have, uh, they're called they're called chicken tractors. They're little portable chicken coops, but they have wheels. Oh God, they have wheels, and so we can move the chicken tractors around when we need to.
Oh my gosh. Well, my neighbor has chickens running around his yard. If I ever need eggs, I know where to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Cicadas,
a lot of people just
chickens.
have stationary coops that they can put all their chickens in. But we like the chicken tractors because you can move them around the fresh.
Interesting. You have a lot of land where you're at?
Uh, we have a lot of land, but some of it's unusable. We've just
Oh,
not gotten it clear. But yeah, we have chicken worthy land.
that's funny.
I think next year we're going to start growing clowns.
You're just gonna collect them off the street from the sewers.
Yeah,
Come on,
we're gonna
there's a place for you.
we're gonna release them back into the interwebs.
Oh my gosh,
We might run a couple for public office too.
that's probably a must. Not that it's a good, but you know, it's like a thing, right? Oh my gosh. All right. Enough about chickens, clowns, and cicadas. We're going to go to the next one astrologically. May 27th, Mercury trine Pluto at 4 degrees Gemini and Aquarius. Oh, love it. Mercury trine Pluto at 4 degrees of Gemini and Aquarius. Stella loves it too. Was that Stella?
Yes, that is Stella. Come here. Everybody's a critic. So Mercury trine Pluto is, I mean, that Mercury's mental processes. Pluto is, you know, transformation. So that should be, you know, that could be tornado-y weather also. But that can be good.
Tornado weather.
That can be tornado weather. That can also be, you know, transformation and. But again, with, you know, both of those in air signs, you know, things will move quickly and abruptly at that point.
I always think that because Pluto does. What's that?
I say quickly and abruptly, but those are kind of more opposites. Things will move quickly at that point.
Yeah, I always think of Pluto as like uncovering something because like that's the drive to do that. And so maybe Mercury trine Pluto is like detective energy. Like we're gonna figure it out. And trines are generally not as difficult as like oppositions or squares. But yeah, there's maybe digging. Maybe things will come to the surface also that, you know, like to our minds that we hadn't have been subdued or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So overall, tell me your whole synopsis for May.
Yeah. So I think that the obvious high points there are like the 4th through the 12th with the Pluto station retrograde, and then the Mercury square Pluto and the full moon, and with the Sun conjunct your well, you know what? May is just kind of a cluster spread throughout. Actually, looking at this again, and then
Yeah.
Saturn enters Aries, the 24th. So it's. Uh, I think the theme here is, you know, adapt to the change as quickly as possible. Give yourself a little break because like this is uncharted waters. We've not had this many outer planets changing signs in this short a period of time for forever.
Right.
And so
Right.
things are going to just be moving really quickly. So you just get up to speed and streamline whatever you can. I just and again, this is just a preview. Once we get into next spring, it's like everything's just going to be moving at warp speed.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the summer will be a little easier, or do you think it's just going to be more?
Well, I
Not that we need
think that
to do it,
so
but
so I think this summer, I think we're getting the gradual speed ups. Like um, we've had a month of Neptune. So Neptune entered Aries on March 30th. So then it's um, May 25th when Saturn enters Aries for the first time. So we've got like what, almost 2 months there between those. And then we've got, and it's almost 2 months from that until um, Uranus enters Gemini in early July. So like every 2 months here in the middle part of the year, we've got. So I'd say we're kind of under Neptune and Aries right now. That's maybe the biggest planetary transit is figuring out what all kind of stuff that's going to disturb. And then once Saturn enters Aries, that things are going to move just extremely ridiculously quick. And that's right around Memorial Day when Saturn enters Aries, ironically enough. Um, and then once Uranus, so like once Uranus enters Gemini in early July, I mean, then all four outer planets are all in masculine, outwardly focused signs. So things are just going to be going tremendously fast. Like July and August are just going to disappear. They're just going to go really fast. Then once we get into September, I mean Neptune and Pluto and Saturn are all retrograde, and by September 1st, Saturn retrogrades back into the end of Pisces, and then Uranus stations, and by when we get to by the time we get to late October, Jupiter's in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune have both retrograded back into Pisces, so it's quite a bit calmer once we get into the fall season, um, and then by oh by the second week of November, Uranus has retrograded back into. So things are quite a bit calmer, once we get into the fall. Yeah, all the animals are restless today. They're all. Oh,
Saturn had to come and join us. He's like purring.
of course.
He's a very needy cat. He needs to be with me all the time. It's really crazy. I love him to death. I mean, like I love him to pieces. But yeah, he's my little needy boy. Say hi. You're on the camera. You're famous, Saturn. He's like, yeah. I agree. I hope that this summer goes by kind of quick. That'll be good because I hate the summer. It's always so hot here.
Oh yeah, yeah, radically different weather than we do up here.
Yeah, I want the winter all year long. I mean, in South Florida winter, not your winter. Forget about that.
Yeah. Nobody wants our winter.
No, not at all. Well, this
but I
was
guess people in Alaska, it's probably mild for them.
yeah, exactly. Well, this was fun. Interesting.
Yep.
I hope you guys enjoyed watching. We'll see you next month. And yeah, thanks, Mark, as always, for joining me.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you for running everything.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.